Good morning, everybody. Another week. Just a quick look at the matrix behind the business, behind our services. We've got quite high levels of short-term absences, which is very frustrating. We're trying to make staff aware that just how debilitating that is for other staff members who then have to step in to pick up shifts at very short notice and so on, so as to avoid any disruption to your sons and our daughters and so on. But that's the nature of our sector. It was running at a much lower level. I think that this is part of sort of unlocking, and as much as we want to be as tough as we can be, we're trying to do it in a very reasonable way because we need to persuade, because we've got some very good people, and people are tending to feel the same senses of frustration that unlocking's coming, but actually it's not coming fast enough. But that's life. It will all change in another 4 weeks, so fingers crossed on that. We also have quite high level long-term absences. Normally that's been running at about 15, 16 people, but I noticed it's up to about 20. That again, that tends to be a factor. People are off for maternity reasons, long-term health issues, and so on. So these are all the things that we have to factor in. We've had no positive cases of COVID amongst staff. We've had one person was off, I think, for a couple of days, but they tested negative. We have one person off with no symptoms, but by way of somebody else within their family household potentially having COVID. So that's just normal. We have done 690 tests on the look back over the last 7 days. We've reduced our number of staff who were declining to have a test from 30, they're down to 22, and hopefully more of those guys will come on board. We've got new staff or starters, and we're struggling to book them in for vaccinations. So there seems to be a shortage of vaccinations for younger people working within care who are entitled to have vaccinations. I suspect that might have something to do with the fact that they have to have the Pfizer jab and not the AstraZeneca jab. So maybe that's more an issue of supply, which hopefully they'll sort out. The fantastic news is that all of our locations are now vaccinated. I think that is absolutely amazing. I would not have believed a year ago, looking at where we were, that I would be sitting here a year on saying everybody, all of the individuals who have accepted a jab have now had 2 jabs. I think it's terrific. I don't think we should discount just how fantastically well the government has done. And as much as I'm a critic of some of the specific issues, I think overall they've done really well. The one thing where they have totally spectacularly failed is, and as so many governments have, is to actually recognise that people with a learning disability are not the same as people with elder care people, that they live in different types of homes, they have different types of expectations on life, that as a provider we have different expectations put on us, i.e. that our sons and daughters should actually be out in the community and that all of our services should be outward facing. And that's what's really frustrating, is that the changing guidance over visiting actually had the perverse effect of making it worse for our ability to take individuals out into the community. And basically, essentially it says if you go out and do an activity other than around a very narrow prescribed basis, they've got to isolate for 14 days. This was how it was last week, but last week, before this new guidance came out, there was an acceptance by our insurers and other insurers that it was a nonsense guidance because it was unlawful, potentially, and therefore they were prepared to say that if we followed all the right processes, risk assessed and all the rest of it, we could do it. Now it makes it much more difficult for us to do that. So we're really frustrated. I put the case across on BBC local radio, which is on our site, and on YouTube. So it's there. We're trying to push it hard. Other people are picking up on it. They're picking up on it very slowly because I think everybody just saw a change in guidance meant a change in these anomalies, these ridiculous things. I did actually get a response from the head of a very large association, and she actually said that she thought that this was a breach of human rights for our sons and daughters, and I'm sure she's right. By the time we tackle it, I have a feeling it will have been rectified. But anyway, in the meantime, we have to live in this sort of grey zone where, it's very difficult. And actually, it's probably harder in a strange, perverse way now than it was at the height of the pandemic. Because at the height of the pandemic, when everything was falling apart, we were just running on adrenaline, and we were able to make decisions about everything, and we did it, and adrenaline kicked in. Now we're just all very weary and frustrated, and so on. But we, as always, will win. So on that basis, I would like to wish you a great weekend and week coming, and speak to you next week.